A fabulous Wednesday evening. We are live and in full effect tonight. So, I want to get into it with you guys tonight about adventure, about a springboard for all things dreams, and all things moving those dreams from being just a dream, just a thought or an afterthought, into being actual goals, and take those goals that you have in your head, writing them down as a part of your vision, and making an action plan so that you can actually bring these things to fruition in real life. So, what I want to get into tonight is talking about exposure. And it's funny when I was talking about how I wanted to get into this topic tonight, it's like exposure. Oh my God, who you about to expose? Who you about to expose? I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, oh, time out, time out. I'm like, no, that is not the direction that we're going in when I talk about exposure. What I'm talking about when I'm bringing up exposure, I'm talking about exposure in the terms of what you are exposed to in life, what you have access to, and not just access to, but things that you are able to see, experience, feel, do. Even if that is something that you're able to gain exposure via being a secondary participant, or even with what you're watching, what you're researching, and what you're consuming on social media, on the internet, things that you're looking up, things that you might be asking Chat GCP, any of those things. So, um, the reason why I wanted to dig into this, because I got three short points for you guys tonight. So we ain't about to be in here waxing forever. But I wanted to talk about exposure because it has a way of expanding your mind. And when I say it has a way of expanding your mind, I'm thinking in terms of you can't you kind of don't know what you want until you see something like it. You see exactly what you want, or you see something similar, so that you're able to say, oh, well, I know that I had this desire. I wanted something like that. There's a starting point for me to have an idea for what I'd like to create for myself and within my own life. So, give you a quick example. There was one of my coaches who brought up having having a steam room at home. Now, do I enjoy the steam room? Of course. I love going into the steam room when I'm at the spa. And so to me, I've always looked at it as a luxury experience. That's something that, okay, I'm going to the steam room when I'm at the spa, I'm gonna go in so that I can open my pores, and I'm gonna like release all of this tension. This is something that I can only do when I go to the spa. It wasn't until I was exposed to, hey, simple but not easy. You know, you could just go ahead and have a steam feature installed in your bathroom at home. I'm sorry, what? You can have what? So I don't have to wait to go to the spa so that I can experience a steam room? I'm like, now wait a minute. That's something that is simple, not easy, but until I was exposed to that way of thinking, until I was exposed to that idea in itself, I'm thinking that I can only experience sitting in the steam room for 10, 20, 30 minutes. That's how long I could take it, y'all. I don't know about y'all. Some of y'all can sit in there for an hour or so. For me, I just need a good little 10 minutes, a little 20 minutes, and I'm like, okay, that's enough. I'm good. Hot. I gotta go. But I never thought about being able to, if you think about it, architecturally, structurally, like physically, when you're thinking about the materials and what a steam room is made of, every time you go to the spa or next time you go, look around at how a steam room is made. Is it not just a giant shower with an enclosure from ceiling to floor, floor to ceiling, however you want to call it, to contain the steam inside of this room, and an apparatus to actually produce the steam? Why wouldn't you be able to have one of those built in your bathroom? But because I hadn't previously been exposed to the thought of having that in my own home, never would have thought of it. I just kept waiting to have my luxury experience every month or every 2 months when I go to this specific spa. I'm just going to wait until I get there. Not thinking I don't have to wait for it ever again a day in my life. If I so choose to go ahead and have it installed in the comfort of my own home, I will be able to take advantage of the effects of steaming my body, if I so choose, every day, twice a day, however many times I want, because it would be right here. So, when we're looking at exposure as a mind expander, when we're looking at some of these other ideas, concepts, other ways of thinking, other ideas, sometimes we may not even know or have the gumption to even think about it, that it's possible for us and it's available to us, or how it's available to us. And so, that information changes situations, but I got to wedge in and add the caveat to that. And I've told you guys before, information applied is what changes situations. Shout out to Quest. If we aren't applying the information that we find out, the information that we learn as we're moving along, we might have all of these, prolific things to say. We might have all of these awesome adages and phrases and different things to make you seem like you're a philosopher. But if you're not actually applying it, how much help is it to you? Now, that isn't meaning to say that it can't be helpful for someone else. If it's information that you came across, it's not for you to use, but it's for you to pass along. That is the application of the information, and do that to help the next person. So, when you're looking at expanding your mind via exposure, I want you to think about things like traveling, cultural events, and stepping outside of your bubble so that you can challenge any of the old assumptions that you had. You're able to challenge the way you grew up, the way you live your everyday life. You're able to challenge the limits of your own mind and what you think is available to you and what you think that you can have, achieve, accomplish, any of those different things. So when you're expanding your mind in that way, it's able to, that's the thing that gives you the ability to think bigger, think larger with what is accessible to you and what's possible for your life. So when we're looking at possibilities and the possibilities of what we can do with our lives, sometimes I notice that over time, when we have to remain resilient, when we have to keep working at it, when we're working at it and it doesn't just happen right then, when things are happening in God's time and not our own time. Y'all know I don't just be talking to y'all, I be talking to myself too. Y'all know about me and that little patience thing. But when we're looking at all of those things, as we're being exposed to other stuff, we are able to continue expanding and also not giving up on believing what's actually possible for us as individuals and also what's possible for us as a collective. As we sharpen one another, as we grow together, as we pour into other individuals, as we make sure that we allow the space for someone else to be a blessing to us and pour into us, we make sure that we're able to keep the dream alive, keep hope alive in those times where you may get impatient, in those times where you may feel discouraged, in those times where you may not be able to you may not be able to hold on to your dream the way that you once were. You might be tired today. You might be going through a season of change, a season where it's going to take a bit more oomph, a season where you feel like you should be harvesting, but right now you're just putting down more fertilizer, you're putting down a little more water, pulling up those weeds, and you're tilling your garden or your crops. It's not harvest time yet, even though you may have thought so. Going back to that waiting on God's timing part. Y'all know we love Jesus around here. But um, so I want you to consider that thing that you may have been afraid to do. I know that a lot of people talk about being afraid to travel, being afraid to go places alone or to try something new alone. Remember, just because you're alone does not mean that you're lonely. So if you're not lonely, you're just alone. And I've encouraged you guys to make sure that you spend your time in isolation and your time being alone with doing things that are enriching to you, things that are healing for you. Why not go ahead and add a little bit of fun to it? Add a little bit of, you might not like spicy food, but put a little spice on life. Go ahead and try that cultural activity. Um, and you know what? I usually say I don't do free promo, but Just for you guys, I'm going to let you know a couple of the sites where you can literally just find random stuff. I have all these random emails that come to me, and sometimes I do go ahead and click it to see, well, what is happening this weekend? So I don't have to figure it out for myself. I can just scroll and see something that piques my interest. You can use sites like Eventbrite, Fever, and Meetup. Those are three sites that you literally don't have to do nothing but log on. You're going to click a little bit of information in, find out what's happening near you, and choose your day. They're gonna give you a list of some of the randomest things, stuff that you wouldn't even thought of that is happening within walking distance, within driving distance, within public transit distance. Or grab a Uber or Lyft if you so choose. And you can go to these different sites, find something new to try. And as far as traveling goes, we know a lot of the times that traveling doesn't make it out the group chat. It don't make it. Just because it didn't make it out the group chat, that don't mean don't go, okay? All you need is that one friend, and sometimes that one friend you need is you. So you can go as a party of one to wherever it is that you saw on a picture, or you saw it in an Instagram reel or a video on TikTok or wherever. Any of these, you're like, oh, that looks like a beautiful backdrop. Oh, that looks like something good to experience. Find out where it's at, find out what it is. And I encourage you to go to it so that you can actually check it out in real life, so that you're able to immerse yourself into different cultural experiences, be around different people, and so that you're able to experience new things. And that will lead you to be able to have bigger dreams, or it may not necessarily have to be bigger, higher, but you may get that spark that you need so that you're able to expand on an existing dream that you already have. You may become exposed to your how to do your next steps and execute on your next steps so that you're able to bring that dream to fruition in real life. And or you may be able to reshape your definition of success based upon what you've been exposed to. When we're young, immature, we're thinking that everything in the world is going to be solved. If you pretty, if you handsome, and you got tons of money. But how many of our celebrities that were rich AF, they were attractive, they had every earthly thing that you could possibly want, but they chose to not be here with us anymore. So being rich and attractive, that's like low hanging fruit. That's the low level stuff. That's the immature stuff to go after. And when we're talking about really digging down and finding out what truly in your heart of hearts will make you happy, what do you truly want? What is your true heart's desire? How do you actually fulfill your purpose? How do you become what God's designed you to become? It's going to take some exposure to some different things outside of where you were born, where you grew up, and so that you're able to expand your mind farther than your immediate surroundings or just the places that you've gone during your journey thus far. So make sure that you continue to explore and be encouraged in exploring. Everybody's not going to want to go with you, and I know it's backwards, but y'all know what it is. Everybody can't go. So make sure that you encourage yourself, and low key, drop it in the comments. Some of the places that you're like, you know what, I've always wanted to go to such and such, but nobody would go with me, or it's too expensive, or well, I don't know how I'll get there. Go ahead and drop it in there because I want to know. I want to know some of the places that y'all wanted to go, some of the things that y'all wanted to try, some of the things that you saw that it piqued your interest or it sparked your interest, but you didn't follow through on it yet. Y'all know what I mean with the yet. Just in case you ain't catch the wink. All right. I want to know some of those things. So, another thing that about exposure that is able to shape your mindset, your desires, your goals is looking at exposure from a socioeconomic lens. So, our upbringings do have an effect on our level of access to certain education, certain activities, even I would say for me personally, extracurriculars. Sometimes our parents don't have time to take us to each of the extracurricular activities that we want to participate in. Sometimes we have to wait until we're a little older and we're able to take the bus. Sometimes there may be a few kids at the crib, but there is a parent. I know that some of us have come from single parent homes, and that doesn't always afford the opportunity to be able to participate in everything, whether it's for a financial reason or whether it be for a time reason or a transportation reason. So, our upbringing and the access to certain ways of living, certain ways of growing up, and certain resources, the access to those resources does make a difference as well on how our lens is framed and how it's shaped about our desires, about what we grow up wanting. Now, that doesn't mean that God doesn't put desires in our hearts, but in terms of bringing those things into fruition in the earthly realm in real life, sometimes we have to be exposed to things outside of our immediate upbringing and outside of our level of access that we had when we were growing up. And in adulthood, and sometimes in young adulthood, it's up to us to expand beyond that or to seek out opportunities for exposure to things that our parents, our family, our schools, our churches, our friend circle, that they may not be able to provide to us. We may have to look for exposure and access in places where we don't know a soul. But how do you make new friends, new acquaintances? How do you network if you don't go to spaces where you don't know anyone? Or you may just know one person and they're your gateway to meeting a whole network of people or a whole nother group of people. So we do still have to do that brave thing and be open to that. That's the only thing about no new friends. You don't got no new friends, how you gonna grow? If you're not exposed to new people, you're gonna stay exactly where you are. And if you're here, I know that that isn't your ultimate desire, but I also know it's easier said than done when you set out to accomplish those things or when you set out to find out what do you need to know so that you can build that goal, build your dreams, and then also apply